We're going live. Yeah. Okay, welcome. Item 1, to receive and accept apologies for absence. Item 2, to note declaration of members' personal, prejudicial and disclosable pecuniary interests in respect of items on the agenda. Are there any? No? Okay. Item 3, minutes. 3.1, to confirm that the minutes of the meeting held on the 25th of the 11th, 25 are a true and accurate record. Confirmed. 3.2, to receive an update on items from the previous meeting, if not agenda items for this meeting. Jane.
Very quickly, we're still waiting for the toilet downstairs to be replaced. We do have somebody coming in next Monday to hopefully sort that. And we are looking to arrange a meeting with Watton Sports Association regarding the play area at the sports centre, which we still have got shut, but we're looking at what work we need to do, particularly to the surface, but we haven't set a date for that meeting yet. And I've gone back to Breckland and said we are keen to look at taking over the open spaces that they currently own. The officer who's looking at that is going to bring a big map out tomorrow. So instead of trying to pick it out on the screen, we'll at least have a map that we can look at, because she did say there's some verges and small areas which she thought we probably wouldn't want. So that's something we need to sort of crack on and look at. If we can look at it at finance perhaps and then bring it back here. Okay.
Thank you. Item 4, to receive reports. 4.1, Chairman's report. On the 27th of November, I attended the finance meeting. On the 30th of November, I attended the Christmas market. Extend my thanks to everybody that helped out, worked really hard, and did so well with the Christmas market. There's more on that later. On the 4th of December, I attended the US Air Force Tri-Wing Yuletide reception and tree lighting at RAF Laken Heath. On the 5th of December, I chaired the meeting at the Queen's Hall regarding public objections to plans for building near Wayland Wood. On the 8th of December, I attended the first Watton Rainbows Tea Party and presented their badges. 4.2, Vice Chairman's report. Did we have anything from Tina? No. 4.3, Clerk's report.
As in your packs, I won't go through what's in there. You can sort of take a look at that. The Middle Street consultation is one, perhaps just to note, we have delivered letters that Breckland provided, and we are getting some of the comments back to the office to feed back to Breckland and Norfolk County Council, and they are still looking at how, if we do pedestrianise Middle Street, how that will affect the businesses. So that's still very much ongoing, but they are going through this consultation at the moment. And the other thing is the car parks. I was hoping we might know a bit more, but as I said, I've just spoken to one of the officers today who said their legal team and solicitor are progressing with the heads of terms as have been provided. They probably need to come back here, it'll be after Christmas now, just to make sure we are happy with them. Finance did look at them, did raise a couple of concerns, but I don't think there's anything that can't be actually sorted at the right time, to be honest. One was around the cameras and GDPR issues. The other was around street lights and who will we as a council, this council will maintain the street lights that are on the car parks if we take those car parks over. But they're all LED lights, so maintenance is quite low. There's just the query around the unmetered electricity supply, but Breckland are going to continue to pay that until, I guess, something happens with the contract, the unmetered supply, or with Breckland being no longer there. But again, there are issues that can be sorted at the time. So that's where we are. More to come, hopefully.
Okay, thank you, Jane. 4.4, reports from lead councillors. Keith.
Does this also include representatives? Thank you. I attended the Twinning Association committee meeting last night, and there are a couple of matters which we would like to talk with council about. First one is, have we as yet had an invitation from Vaitsa for our chairman to go out for their 800th anniversary celebrations?
No, we had a telephone call, which the lady said, we will be sending out an invite to you. My clerk's address, I've not heard anything since. That was a good fortnight ago. So, but I don't know who to chase, Keith, myself. So,
Okay, when is that,
I think
Keith? When would that be?
it's in towards the end of May next year. And I say it is the 800th anniversary of the founding of Vaitsa. The thing is, their present Burgomaster is not into the same sort of mindset as Uli was. Uli was very much behind twinning and social events. This new Burgomaster is seems to concentrate more on businesses and that side of things. So there was talk last night that they thought there was something on its way. That's the first thing. But the other thing is, as it is our visit over there, we always take a present of some kind. Now, the thing about twinning, and it's not twinning associations that twin, it is the councils. So the thought was, would we as a council like to join with the twinning association and buying a joint present of some sort? It's food for thought now. Perhaps Jane can have a word with Margaret and see what ideas we can come up with. But the thoughts are something that can be on display in their right house, but the town hall, and engraved with the message on it, something like that.
Might be an idea to see if we can find out some costings for that.
Yeah.
And then
That's
check.
that's what we're looking to do.
Yeah.
So if the idea is, Jane needs to speak to Margaret and say, well, we have to agree that we would like to join in with the Twinning Association for something bigger than two little ones.
Yeah. Well, if we have some information, then
Yeah.
we can bring that back to
Yeah, have a
council
word with Margaret.
in the new year.
Yeah.
Jack.
Could I make a suggestion that we put out a call to the local tradies and see if there's anything like that they could make that could be a gift, something like a crest of the town that could go over, something more personal, show off local talent as well.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah. Okay. Any other league councillors? No. I'd like to actually make a proposal that we move item 12 up to now before the public participation. Do we have a second? Those in favour? Okay. Right. So we're moving item 12 up, and this is to agree a response to Breckland local plan consultation following the input from the public meeting held on the 5th of December. I'll pass over to you, Jane.
I think everybody should have received some communication, particularly around the site Watt 3, which the public meeting was held about on Friday night, and Thomas put quite a good response together. It's very much, do we want to base our response on what Thomas is saying? Do we want to add more? Do we want to talk about other sites in our response? And that is very much over to you guys, what you feel we ought to be doing and saying.
Sarah.
Just so everybody knows, I've received some substantive documentation from a resident. So maybe we can pass that to Thomas and you can have a look, just to make sure things aren't duplicated.
Yeah.
Take any ideas from that as well.
And have you asked the residents to put their views to Breckland themselves?
I have.
Yeah, good. Okay, Jack.
Could we also potentially be cheeky and ask the public to suggest alternative sites that they feel would be a viable solution with local knowledge and how it could potentially work in the town's favour from their perspective, since it's designed to bring benefit, and then we submit them through as well?
I think that was one point that was actually raised on Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just want to bring that to the table,
Yeah.
so it has to be put on.
Uh-huh. I think Don was next.
I agree with Jack, but it would have to be very quick, because I think
It's 15th.
the 15th. So I think,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd like to propose that we follow Thomas's response to the whole thing. I think that covers what the whole meeting last Friday brought up, all the topics, and so I think we called the meeting to get the views of the local people. I think they mirror the views of the local people in that response. So I think that's the line that we should take.
Thomas has done with Jane a lot of work on that, and I'd just like to take this opportunity to say thank you for doing that. And it is a really informative piece. So, Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I did put some work into this. It is something I'm quite passionate about, so I was happy to do so. I just wanted to note from the public meeting, I took a tally of all the comments that we received. The top two issues that were raised by the public were health and GP, followed by wildlife and schools, matching both at 4 responses each. And I think that my response reflects the issues raised by the public well. The 5 points that I raised in my document, hopefully you've already seen, but very quickly: alter and protect footpaths, nature barrier for light and sound pollution, protect the character of the landscape, utilize natural divides and corridors and get tree protection orders for the 5 oak trees on site, and demographic provision, where we looked a bit more into the town neighbourhood plan and the Breckland design guide. Although I will say at this early stage, the design guide isn't necessarily something we can read into much, as Breckland themselves haven't reached that point yet. But yeah, I would like to second Don's proposal of moving forward with these 5 ideas with the inclusion of the tree protection orders.
Those in favour? Sorry, Keith.
Yeah, as a member of the planning committee, I will not speak on any specific applications or issues like this. But the thing that Jack said about putting forward alternative sites is a non-starter. The way it works is Breckland call for sites, and landowners respond to that. So we could put forward as many as we want. If that landowner hasn't put in a request to have it considered, then it won't be considered.
Okay.
That is a problem. It is different to say that we would like to see more houses on this site and this site. That is a different matter. But as for looking for new sites, I'm afraid it's a non-starter.
I think that was the point that was raised, that there was another very close site that could take more houses than the suggested site, but it was already a site on the plan. But we've all agreed that we'll take Thomas's and Jane's report forward. Abstaining, yeah. Everybody else was for. Okay, so we'll now go into public participation. Sorry.
Draw something up tomorrow. I mean, it will basically be what you've done, but I'll either send it to you and add a bit more. Can do tomorrow afternoon, though, please. I'm out in the morning, probably.
Okay, public participation. Do you want to come up to the microphone? So she's shouting. Yeah, and you press your green button. No, you're fine.
As someone who is living in Watton and wants to eventually afford their own home, I've kind of had a look at affordable houses, and I've looked at the land development on the Wayland Fields. Now, I'm a teacher, so I do earn a good wage, but even with like what they're saying is affordable houses, I couldn't afford a house, even on my wage. So how is this affordable housing for people of Watton, which is something we need to consider, because it's people in Watton who eventually want to be buying a house in Watton. Another point I brought to on Friday was that people are moving into Watton, but they're not bringing anything to Watton. So when people are moving to Watton, they're going out to work, they're spending money in Norwich, they're not bringing anything to the high street. We have a failing high street. We don't have the infrastructure to support all these houses that are being built. We don't have anything for children. Our schools are oversubscribed. We have doctors that you can't see. If you ring up a doctor, you're waiting 3 weeks. We don't have a dentist. We have one pharmacist that is outstretched. Bringing all these houses, it's not beneficial to Watton and the landscape. We need something in Watton to bring people in to start spending their money. And I think Wayland Wood, if you've looked on social media late over the weekend, someone had found this beautiful flower in Wayland Wood, and it only grows so much at like certain times, and it's actually in decline in this country. And putting houses next to our woods, which has been in the doomsday books for many years, it's going to affect everything. And there's just got to come a point when we say we can't actually build any more houses because we have nothing to offer here. And I do get quite upset because I was born and raised here, and I've seen a massive decline in the area. And we need to start focusing on ways to make Watton better before we can really think about homes. Because at the moment, we're investing money in homes, but nothing in the high street or in shops or anything for our younger children. Like when my nan was here in the 60s, there was a swimming pool, there was a cinema, there was a shoe shop, there was a thriving high street. We have nothing. The people who are coming here aren't spending money here. They're taking it elsewhere. So we really need to start focusing on ways to make Watton better for people to spend the money and for the houses to come here. Because at the moment, we're just becoming oversubscribed, and eventually Watton's going to link to Merton, to Thompson, to Griston, to Carbrook, to Sayham, and then we're just going to be a mini town, a big mini town, and we're not going to be able to cope. Thank you.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but it isn't specific to what it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And partly it's that you can buy lots of stuff on the internet, and that's what the shops aren't made to compete with that, and you have to travel to Norwich and things like that. And you're right, there hasn't been, they built houses, but there isn't work locally for people and things like that. But the time that I've been on the council, we have looked at planning applications, and we've gone back time and time again and pointed out that there aren't employment opportunities being performed there. We're struggling with pharmacies, like you say, dentists, all the infrastructure's not there. And we've gone back and highlighted that and compared it against our neighbourhood plan. So it's not that, as a council, we haven't been doing anything. We have. But I'm not sure what the answer is, but you're right. It's
Subscribed.
oversubscribed. Yeah, just more houses without the infrastructure to go with it.
Yeah, although it's not part of this council's remit, I think one of the issues is actually public transport, particularly if you're looking for work. Because I'm retired now, but when I was looking for work, quite a lot of places that you phoned wouldn't employ you if you were arriving by public transport because it was so poor. So I know that we can't address that, but I do think there is an issue there. And I think the poor public transport service doesn't help, both in terms of commercial people coming to spending the money, but also finding work around. If you want to live, you don't want to go too far away, or there are places that are just not served by buses. A lot of places just won't employ you. When I was looking for work, I was turned down a number of times when they said, "Oh, you live in Watton?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, well, we'll get back to you on that one." So I think that is another issue.
Jack.
Thank you very much for coming in for public participation. It's actually lovely to hear from people who live locally and how they feel, and it was very passionate. You could see that resonates through, so thank you. Regarding what you're saying, it's true, and I'm gonna agree with Don here on this. It is a natural progression in society. We can't avoid expansion, and I did mention this the other day at the meeting about Watton is basically a thoroughfare for the larger towns where people are living, where there's more commerce and so forth. But we have to look at the way society is moving along and in general. And Watton is actually really well connected, especially within certain areas for things like digital infrastructure. I mean, we have gigabyte broadband in certain areas, which is very, very good for rural. You know, I have it at my house. I've had it at 2 addresses in Watton, so I know it's in the area. That encourages people who want to work from home, the new gig economy, the new type of entrepreneur. So although we don't have a lot at this moment of conventional work, we can attract more entrepreneurs to the area. Society is moving more digital, and this council does seem receptive to having good plans to building upon that. And that's not just for workers, that's for the new digital ways of living, you know, VR, future, whatever. That's the goal. But we've got to build houses to attract infrastructure. So it's a chicken and egg situation, because when you look at, for instance, the national metrics on how they work, there's got to be a certain amount of homes in an area to attract a certain type of, you know, business group and so forth. So although people moan about not having infrastructure, they're equally not receptive to having things that attract infrastructure as well. And we have to be real people. We're living longer, and I hear what you're saying. House prices are going up, but if we don't build more houses or allow that safely to be done within an area, which is well controlled and managed, I may add, property prices are only ever going to go up. Obviously, more properties in the area does bring property prices down as well by volume. So I understand what you're saying. It's a fine balance, and I'll just say, please put any concerns that you have forward online to Brecon. So we're very limited with what we can do in certain aspects. Thank you.
I'd agree there with Jack. Thank you.
Thank you.
Past comments to Breckland, that is the thing to do. I was on the webinar last night, and Sam Chapman, leader of Breckland Council, was speaking, and the message was get everybody to respond to the consultation. It really was. They want to hear your views. So that's, just get online and fill the forms in, I think.
Okay, please. Do you want to come up? Well, either that or I'll just wave back. Bear in mind, we do only have 5 minutes.
It's just that I'm aware that there were a lot of people at the meeting who were very concerned, and it's difficult to hear actually in the room. I think I caught what Thomas said, but I wondered if in the next Watton and Wayland Times, Madam Chair, we could have a description of what was sent from the council to Breckland, because, you know, lots of people will wonder and they won't know, and it's part of keeping the communication with our community going. That was just what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, Liz. That, if we can get, perhaps Lauren to do something. Yeah, thank you. Did you want to speak?
At the meeting at Queen's Hall, there was a lady I was sitting next to, Mrs. Dockery, who lives on the Deera Road. And she's got a farm there, which I think it's over 20 acres. I think that site would be more suitable than Wayland Wood, especially with Wayland Wood having a historical data. I agree to a certain degree with you regarding building and getting people here, but where will it end? All these building sites, where's all the jobs for people? Watton Town hasn't got enough infrastructure. They haven't got doctors. They haven't got many shops. There's a load of second-hand shops in Watton. You've got to travel to Durham or Thetford. So putting Wayland Wood as a building site seems wrong to me, when there's plenty of other sites available. The lady I was talking to wasn't aware that they were looking for sites. She didn't hear about it.
Right. That was going to be my question. Had she put the line forward? But she hasn't.
No, she hasn't. She didn't know about it.
I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but
Yeah,
it would be Breckland that she'd have to talk to.
yes. I've told her that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thomas, you had your hand up.
Yeah, just on another point to the clerk's point there about the virtual meeting we both attended. There really wasn't much new information at that meeting. I do have some notes, so if anyone wants more information about the virtual meeting, I can send my notes to you. So just email me and I can send it over. I would say the one bit of new information that we did learn is that Regulation 19, so the next stage of consultation following the independent assessment for viability, will be in next year. I think it was the late spring. So we've got some time before the Regulation 19 consultation, and it's going to be submitted in December 2026. So the time frame for this stage of consultation is ending very soon, but we can get back to it next time.
Thank you, Thomas. Anybody else? No? Okay, thank you. We'll go on to the next item, item 6, finance. 6.1, to approve payments for December 2025, which we've had those payments through.
Yes, they've gone out. To add to that, Sunbelt road closure for the festive market is £119.06. That's not on your list. And the internal auditor, his charge is £5.50 for his recent visit. So those two are to be added.
Okay, approve. Yeah. Everybody? Graham? Oh, thank you. Yeah. 6.2, to note the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held on the 27th of the 11th, 25. All noted. 6.3, Finance Committee recommendation to full council. The internal auditor recommended that an internal control statement be compiled. A draft was presented to members of the committee, and it is suggested that adoption of the statement is recommended to full council, with the following amendments made. Ensure the statement is reviewed before the 31st of March 2026. Excuse me. Item 3.1. State a time frame in which the minutes of the finance meeting is circulated to full council within 5 working days. So those recommendations have come to full council. Okay. Seconder? Jack. Those in favour? Okay, thank you. Item 7, to note the draft report received from the internal auditor, Appendix 1, which we've all had through. Is that noted? Yes. 7.1, to review the standing orders and financial regulations, Appendix 2 and 3. Jane, can I pass that over to you?
Yes, this is something that was picked up by the internal auditor, that the National Association of Local Councils has put out the new standing orders, which we normally adopt without many changes. So they are there as drafted. I suggest we do tick the box and accept the standing orders and the financial regulations, which have got minor amendments to them. The one thing we can't agree is section 19 of the standing orders, which relates to some staff matters. So until our policies are up to date and our job evaluations have been undertaken, we can't complete section 19. But I think to adopt standing orders to say section 19 will follow is perhaps the best place to be at the moment.
Do we have a proposer? Seconder? Thomas. Those in favour? Carried. Item 8, update on devolution and local government reorganisation.
I said I've had anything else to draw to your attention recently. It's just carrying on, really, I think, Thomas.
No update on LGR, but there is an update on devolution. The mayoral elections for next year were cancelled. All the candidates were named beforehand. They may still stand for the next round. We'll see.
Thank you. Item 9, to consider quote received for tree survey remedial works. Jane.
One quote has gone out in your pack. I think that totals £5,200, I believe. We've only received one other quote that came in just prior to tonight's meeting, really, and that is for £9,600. So that's quite a difference. We have tried to get other quotes, but we've been unsuccessful. They are the two we've received. The work really should be done while we have the time. It's not bird nesting season to undertake that. So I think we do need a decision, if not at this meeting, at the next meeting. But I can't see us getting any more quotes, unfortunately, unless anyone can point me in the direction of some tree surgeons locally.
I think we should make the decision tonight because it's another month before the next meeting now, isn't it? Don?
Well, we discussed this at finance on lots of things that we go out for quotes. We are not getting the 3 quotes that we think, and the trouble is, with some things, it's gone further and further. We've kicked it down the road. Yeah, we'll try and get another quote, but some things just need doing, and I think this is a case in hand where we've got 2 quotes. One is huge, and one's not so huge, and I would propose that we go with the first quote we had and just get the work done and work in future to try and get contractors and such like to put in quotes, but at the moment we're really struggling.
I do have a second. Keith. Those in favour? Oh, sorry. Well, you can, but yeah.
I was just going to ask, Loch Neaton contributing towards this?
We have a memorandum of understanding about this with them.
Okay, so can I have that in short form very quickly?
That means we're paying.
Okay, so are we responsible for the land of Loch Neaton?
Understanding that was drawn up a few years ago now. We accepted it again at the May meeting this year, and it is worded to run for the term of the council. So in a way, I think we're almost obliged to carry on until the next council elections, the way that memorandum of understanding is.
Can I see that after, please? I wasn't here for that. It's just so I'm aware for future reference, please.
Yeah. So can I take that again? We had a proposer, we had a seconder. Those in favour? Those against? Abstaining? Thank you, that is carried. You're probably better placed.
I mean, this council is custodial trustee of Loch Neaton, but it has nothing to do with the management or the running of the charity at Loch Neaton. But to help and support the charity, it was agreed that this council would help them with tree works, and particularly a while ago, there was quite a lot of work that needed doing. So that's where that came from, that it was just a sort of gesture of support, and that's in place until this council is re-elected, if you like, in 2 years' time.
Thomas? Thank you.
I am a Loch Neaton trustee, so if anyone has any questions, please direct them my way.
Thank you. Item 10, to note digitalisation working group notes.
Isn't that a pecuniary interest?
Sorry?
If it's a trustee, and this is for Loch Neaton, Thomas Hope. But isn't that a pecuniary interest?
Would you clarify that, Jane?
Because if we are trustees, can we vote on this in general?
I think that's something we'll need to check out, Jack. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jane. To note digitalisation working group notes from the initial meeting held on the 27th, the 11th, 25. We have those notes. Are there any comments? No, it is just to know. Thank you. 10.1, to accept digitalisation working group terms of reference, which we've all had and read avidly. Okay. Are they accepted? Yes. Thank you. Item 11, to receive feedback from the festive market. We have a report from Lauren. Do you want Jane to read that through?
I think it's worth noting that staff who were present at the festive market did feel as though they had a very, very busy day. And it is an issue that I think more support would be needed in the future, whether that's through making sure we have a proper rota of who is available and when, so staff aren't working an 11.5-hour day, which really they shouldn't be. So there are issues we've got to address. We have in the past paid for the gazebos to be put up and down, so maybe that's something council needs to look at doing again in the future, or maybe we don't provide gazebos for the stall holders moving forward. Certain things have got to be addressed, I think. And I think really that's sort of how we need to plan better next time, to just make sure we've got the number of volunteers or pay additional people to help is the message I'm getting. And I admit I was not there because I've done it so many times in the past, and it's too long a day, to be honest. It really is.
Thanks again to those people who did help out on the day. I'm sorry I couldn't be doing more than walking up and down several times talking to lots of people. Sarah.
Thanks, Chair. Can I just encourage anybody who's got any time next year to just even give a couple of hours, because if we all did it, we'd all have more fun. It was bitter last week. I think a couple of us have come down with colds. So if we can just do even 2 hours. Oh, well, it's all right for you.
I'm all right, Jack.
But it is good fun.
Yeah.
We met some lovely people, and I do recommend it.
Yeah. Thank you. Don?
On a positive note, it was a huge success, bearing in mind that Dereham, Swaffham, Attleborough all had their festive markets on the same day, and there was thousands of people going up and down, wasn't there, sort of thing. And they were all in good spirits, more than I can say for my feet and hands. But
I think that's it. I think Lauren did a wonderful job of organising it, and the feedback I've seen was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just, I think we've got to
we
be wary of what the staff are doing.
Yeah, we've got to look after.
That's not me.
We've
That's
got to
the
look
rest of
after the staff because
exactly.
they do need proper breaks. And so, Jack.
Thank you. I'd just like to pass on my praise to everyone. Obviously, I couldn't help on the day, but I was there with my children, going up and down. They was mobbing the Watton Town Council tombola. They was loving life. But a lot of the feedback we got from speaking to people was very positive. I think we would all agree if there's one thing we know how to do is put on an event. The fireworks are second to none. Our festive market is getting there. And I'd just like to say compliments to the team for organising that. Such amazing work. And next year, I think it's got to be even bigger and better. So fantastic. Thank you.
And thank you for the weather, even though it was cold. Okay. Item 12 we've done. Item 13, to consider grant application for Christmas meal at Watton Sports Centre. We have had the application. We have also already given a grant for gifts. Looking for the application. Yeah. As I recall from the application, as I've said, we have already said, yes, we will pay for the a certain amount for gifts. That was agreed at a previous council meeting. She has asked for an additional £50 due to the turkey supplier who she was getting a donation from having to cull their birds through bird flu. She's saying that the meal is for 33 people who may either be at the sports centre or have meals delivered to them. There is one thing on there that I'm a little bit unsure about, because it says, what other funding have you sought for this event? And she's put none, but they were actually at the festive market with a tombola stall, so I'm not sure why there was no other funding, but that's just my view. Jack?
I'm all for, being benevolent and giving people a good time, but when's enough? If it's £50, £50,000 is public money, and if we're unsure about the nature of the grant, I don't know the terms. If the turkey culling, we get a refund back, and that can be transferred. However,
No, it was a donation.
No, I mean, can they transfer that to another supplier? Is there anything that they can do with that? This is what I mean.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but my guess is that there are a lot of suppliers that are in the same boat.
Yeah, or could they offer an alternative meat this year? I know it's festive to have a turkey, but they're not the only ones. Oh, I'm not a turkey lover, but my point being is, obviously it's a national sort of thing, and we can't keep giving and giving, in my opinion.
Don?
Well, rather than it go through the council, I'm prepared to put up £25 of my own money if some of the other councillors will match the other 25. Right, okay, job done.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. Yeah. She can collect from there. Yeah. I'm not in the Grinch camp, but just as it is public money, and we have already made a donation, and we did do last year as well. Item 14, planning. Keith, is there anything? I'll have a look when I walk the dog. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. This is what Thomas has put together in the pack to go to Breckland about that. Yeah. Okay, I now have item 15 to pass a resolution to exclude the public and press to consider confidential matters.